don't smoke, so. No. I have no idea. I've been giving them away to people.
Hey, thanks for checking out my
I just use
video.
them in my truck and
So this video is on a Honeywell water heater valve that is flashing 6 times. So a 6 flash or a code 6 or error code 6. So I got a call from the owner, asked me to come out and take a look at it and see if I could fix it. And it's flashing right there. You can barely see it, but I'm just shutting it off now.
Okay.
So when you look up the 6 flashes, it comes up as water leak detected by accessory module in some models. Excessive amount of water in the drain pan or dam. Now this water heater is completely dry, not leaking at all. So it comes up on the valve cover as replace the burner assembly. So that's what the motherboard's telling me to do. It's saying replace the burner assembly. So that's what I'm here to do. And that's the low NOS burner assembly there. It's kind of loud when it sprays the gas. They're very problematic. The screens rip on them and they tend to backfire or explode. This one's in great shape. But I came out a few days earlier and restarted the water heater and it came back up a code 6. So now I'm just going to go ahead and replace the valve and replace the motherboard. So that's what's in this video. So that's the solution to the code 6. Appreciate you watching. Enjoy the video. So you want to be very careful when you remove these burner assemblies not to rip the screen. So I'm kind of wedging it out there at the bottom. And I'm going to keep it as low to the bottom as I can, not to catch the screen on the top. So you'll see me kind of shimmy it out a little bit. But if you ever rip that screen taking this type of burner assembly out, it's pretty much done.
Scotty's your son, right? Since Scotty's your son? Oh. Yeah.
So this valve cover just pops right off. Use a screwdriver and kind of release the tabs. There's a ribbon in the back.
You guys from San
You just
Diego?
disconnect that from the motherboard and pry it free from the cover, and the cover comes off. So when you're working on a valve or replacing a valve that's a Honeywell, you do not necessarily have to drain the entire water heater and unscrew it. They come in 3 different stages. You've got the cover and the motherboard, then the aluminum valve assembly itself, which you can see right there. And then there is sort of the well casing that screws into the water heater. That holds the thermistor. Bringing in the new burner assembly, it's a totally different type. So just inserting it right there, and then I'm going to tighten it down and connect it to the valve.
I gotcha. Yeah, I was born in La Mesa. I grew up in El Cajon. So I went to Valhalla. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh, wow. It does sound. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. All right. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty hot out there. Yeah.
So when you're connecting the pilot tube to the valve, it's a good idea to. I'm having trouble actually getting the. There you go. I got it freed up. You want to keep the pipe from kinking, so I'm real careful when I bend it back into place that I support the entire pipe and I make sure it doesn't kink. And then you want to line it up as straight as possible, or you can have some difficulty threading it back in. Sometimes those threads just don't want to catch. If you push up on the pilot tube in there a little bit and relieve pressure, kind of wiggle it around, as soon as it starts to
You think
grip,
so?
you want to get the pliers on it right away. It's a 7/16 box wrench
We got some
to
trees in
tighten
here,
it
man.
down.
I mean, it's all just
Recommended to the owners that
scrub
they
rust
change
and.
this vent right here in the door. It's actually too small. You want at least 10 by 10 and you want two of them to circulate the air through the water heater for combustion and the
Oh, really?
burner assembly. But I guess I worked with the previous water heater, so they're not interested in doing that at this time.
Oh, Freemason?
So reinstalling the valve cover is just the reverse of removing it. Can be a little tricky getting the ribbon into the motherboard, especially if the cable isn't very long, but you get it connected, snap it back into place, and pull up the slack so that it doesn't get caught. The real tricky part here is you have to line it up with the three prongs that are in the valve
I'm
itself.
alright,
So you
thank
kind of
you.
get it squared up a little bit and kind of move it. You want to rock it back and forth, right, like that,
Welcome.
and line it up, and it should just click right back in. So I actually did not change the valve on this trip out. I ended up coming out about 4 or 5 times to this water heater before I finally got the problem. But I didn't change the valve on this trip. I changed the burner assembly and the motherboard, and I left the valve in. I had to come back the next day and change the valve. And I ended up going through about 3 valves before I found a good one. And every single one of those suckers went right into a trash can. So I work on a lot of used water heaters. I keep all the Honeywell valves. Some of them are in really good shape. Some of them come with errors and some are defective. And I don't have enough time to test them all. So I just have boxes of valves. And occasionally I have to go through a few of them. So I always like to hang out for 5 or 10 minutes to make sure an error code doesn't come up. But I ended up having to come back the next day and actually replace the valve, which I try and get in the habit if I replace a valve to also replace the motherboard, because sometimes it's the valve and sometimes it's the motherboard that just hangs onto an error or comes up with this error or this code or these flashes, and I can never figure out why exactly. But for the sake of getting a water heater working and moving on to the next one, I end up changing the motherboard. So that's actually a cover off of a Bradford White. That's why it's gray with the red button. But those are pretty reliable. So whatever Bradford White's doing with Honeywell, they seem to be getting some good coated boards. All right, so the water heater is complete. I'm just kind of keeping my eye on it right now and put my tools away. So that's it. It's a good water heater. It's actually in a manufactured home or mobile home, but it's in good shape. I think the year on it's like 2018. Appreciate you watching. Please consider subscribing and thumbs up the video if you liked it, and have a great day.